3. Flores forever!
Peggy and I, as college students, would always joke about wanting to have enough for a basketball team. And I'd joke about wanting to have enough for a baseball team because I love baseball. So we always joked about it, but obviously we're always open to it. And the way God played it out for us was kind of amazing.
I think that the best advice I have is to trust God. Bring Him into your marriage. When you bring Him into your marriage, it seeps through to everyone else. The stronger your faith is, then the children will see that.
Now that I have like 6 siblings, I know like how to share, how to take care of babies, how to help.
Really, it's so helpful to have God as the center of your parenting ways.
Seatbelts on, right?
Usually the older generation will come up to us wherever we're at and say, "This is so beautiful. We love seeing a big family."
Definitely get a lot of second glances, and we get folks, they comment to each other, and our kids obviously notice that, we notice that, so we kind of embrace it. We kind of announce our arrival at times. The kids usually announce our arrival.
That's right.
So we have fun with it.
It's such a blessing. God has truly given us such gifts. And every one of them, their personalities, the joy they bring to us. When we walk into places and seeing them and other people's faces light up, they melt people's hearts, and it's wonderful.
I was born in Eagle Pass, Texas, a little border community down the road from here. We live in San Antonio, Texas. I was raised Catholic. My grandma on Sunday mornings would take us all to church, which is a blessing now looking back in retrospect. Being raised Catholic, we'd go to Mass every Sunday. I received all my sacraments growing up. The youngest of 3, 2 older sisters, my mom and my grandma who raised me. And they were all strong women. So I like to tell folks that I'm in touch with my feminine side only because I had to be, growing up with 4 women.
I'm the oldest of 5 children, born and raised Catholic, cradle Catholic as we say, and my parents did a wonderful job giving us a really strong foundation in our faith, and went to Catholic school from the 2nd grade on, and actually in Catholic schools where I learned how to defend my Catholic faith. And I never left the faith. I've never had a crisis of faith like some people have, so I've been really blessed in that for myself, that I've always been and loved my Catholic faith.
It's never easy.
What did you decide to do from that? We had been married for 15 years and didn't have any biological children of our own, and so we decided to get licensed for foster to adopt. Within a few weeks of our license being issued, we got a call that there was a sibling group of 3 that needed a home. They were being emergency removed from their existing placement, and we talked about it and we said yes. And then a week later, we got called that they have a baby brother who was a couple weeks old, and could he come as well? And so we had a little longer conversation about that, and we said yes. And then 6 months later, we got a call that there was another baby on the way. And at that point, we were still adjusting to 4. And but we said, please call us. Yes. And once we said yes to now our 4-year-old, at that time, we knew we'd always say yes. If God called, we would say yes. And it's just a blessing to see them together.
Everybody say up and get down.
Spending time with each child individually is definitely something that we do intentionally. Our 9-year-old has counseling, so we sometimes alternate who takes them. So we get to spend that time. It's about an hour drive for us. So we get 2 hours alone, and we have a lunch with him. So he gets to feel special that, hey, it's my time. And then we have practices. So depending on what day of the week it is, because we have practice Monday through Friday, games on the weekend, is they will have time with mommy or with daddy. Some of them have their own individual teams, so we get to spend time that way with them. You know, I coach a couple of their teams. Peggy's at all of their practices pretty much. And she does a great job also with the schooling of being able to one-on-one with each of the children. And one of the great things that I love about what she's done with the babies is that she makes it a point for each one of them to be with her literally 24 hours a day. If she's got to go to the grocery store, she'll take the baby with her. So they form that bond that maybe she didn't have, you know, while they were in a womb.
They are hilarious. They love each other. They play with each other. They enjoy each other. The conversations they have, my goodness. The house is always full of joy. Even when they're mad, like someone's laughing. And even when there's conflict in the house, there's another area where there's just tons of laughter. There was still joy because we were still together and we enjoy being together.
We're good when we're happy. We're all interdependent upon each other. But it's another level of happiness when somebody is happy because of us, right? And we're not taking credit for them being happy, but, you know, just to see their joy, right? Just like they say, you know, misery loves company. Well, so does joy. So as far as joy is, that would be probably the best descriptor of our daily life. Boring is not a part of our vocabulary, certainly not at our house, right? But joy would be a great descriptor to say, well, how would you classify your day? How would you describe your day? Joy, in every sense of the word. From the beginning, we loved the idea of having a big family. You know, of course, you know, like everything else in life, we have plans and we have ideas and things like that. But God will always laugh at us and say, hey, listen, this is what you think is going to happen, but here's what's going to happen. So we went through a lot of challenges, as a lot of folks do. And I think that because of us being in a position that we were at, we were older and, you know, financially stable to where it wasn't as big of an impact as, say, if we had had them when we were in our 20s. So I think that had a big impact on that. But also we were always open. We were always open. We just didn't know how it was going to happen, when it was going to happen.
My parents gave us a really strong foundation in the Catholic faith. And when I was in 2nd grade, they put us into Catholic schools, and we would pray the rosary every Sunday together. And I always knew that I was always open to life. I didn't know this is how it would come. We first started getting licensed. There's actually a website, and it shows you children in the state who are available for adoption. And we wanted to keep a sibling group together because in my heart, I really wanted them to be able to stay together. Because normally in this process in foster, they'll have 6 or 7 different placements before they're adopted, if they're ever adopted. And the older they are, then they'll age out of the system, never having a forever home. And so our mantra is Flores forever, because once they come, then they'll always be a Flores. So
I always tell folks when they ask us, hey, are there any more kids? Are there any more coming? Right? And I always look at a picture that we have of the 7 kids now, and I always think, which one? Which one would we be okay without? Right? And obviously the answer is we would want all of them.
That's right.
We can't imagine life without any of them.
That's right.
So that's why our answer is yes. We would love all of them.
You know, they're our children. We've adopted them, but only God could have made this happen where we're even being called.
Yeah.
So it's really beautiful to lean on Him, especially when it comes to the children.
We get to be their parents. Lucky to be their parents. Not we have to be or we're forced to be, because it was definitely a choice.
That's right.
That we chose willingly with God as our center, and it's made it not easy, but absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's number 4. Do the number 4. Do the 4. We would always have a discussion about schooling, and if we were to end up together. And I'm a product of public schools, and she's a product of parochial schools. And back 20, 30 years ago, they were a little bit different than they are today, maybe. But we would always have a discussion about what would our children be exposed to. Public school, for me personally, it was amazing how it happened, was no longer an option, right? Because of the world that we live in today, our kids are going to be exposed to a lot. Let's saturate them with the goodness of family, of faith, and so forth, so that way when they do encounter the world in their own ways, in their own manners, is that they are equipped. Homeschooling is vital for that, because we start every morning with prayer, or as I tell the kids, your teacher will start it with prayer, and your principal will make sure that it gets done. And that's where Dad comes in. In terms of the decision to homeschool, we are so fortunate that we started even before the pandemic happened, right? And the pandemic just reminded us why we wanted to homeschool, or gave us another reminder of why we wanted to homeschool.
I like homeschooling because if I went to school, it would be kind of boring. And I like homeschooling because I get to spend time with my family and play instead. And I like to learn here more. And I love to be outside because I love to learn about nature and animals around me.
Blessed to be able to have, the best teacher that a kid can ever have, which is their parents, right? And teaching them a good foundation. But Peggy is the one that on a day-to-day basis handles that with the children. And if I do say so, she does an incredible job. I tell folks she was made to be a mom, right? And she's not a bad teacher either.
We, obviously, having been married so long without children, had traveled and been used to doing that and having our own business. There's a lot of freedom to that, and so our schedule was very flexible, and we're able to do what we wanted to do when we wanted to do it. And when they're in school, the schedule was all about getting them up early, having them, rush, and I read a lot. I read a whole lot through this whole year, and the summer before we started homeschooling. And then the fact that we had adopted, the attachment was important to us. So it's like, well, let's bring them home so they're attaching to us and we're building that relationship together. And we enjoy being with them. We love it. We're really just following God's way, I think, in homeschooling. And we can see it in them, and other people can see it in them.
Name all the things you gave up for a night. What'd you give up? McDonald's. What else? My role as a father is first and foremost is to get my kids to heaven and the rest of the family to heaven. One of the things that I love about our faith is that, and our God, is that He's a forgiving God, thankfully, for people like myself who sin just about every day. But I love that our kids get to see that we may stumble, but we're always allowed to get back up. And so as their leader, spiritual and financially and so forth, I have the privilege, we talked about this earlier, that we feel lucky that we get to be their parents, their role models. And again, getting them to heaven is our ultimate goal. What we can do for the kingdom of God is not so much what we do, but perhaps who we raise. And that's how I see our family. All the mysteries of His life were more or less...
He is a great father. He is so good with the kids. Where I fail, He excels with them, and that especially when it comes to, listening to them and really being patient with them when they're having a crisis, whereas my personality is we need to move on, we got things to do, what's next? But to really just kind of sit and be in the moment, to enjoy every moment with them, to create memories with them. It's really beautiful to see Him as a father with the kids. He's great.
Praise to the Father, the Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
Bless us, O Lord, for these bad gifts which we are about to receive from Thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen. God bless our business. God is definitely the center of our family and the foundation of our family. And I was raised with, you keep your priorities in order. God, family, then work or your business or whatever it is. And so we really have made that a part of the kids' lives. And so they always know when it's time to eat, we're going to say grace first, and they will wait. If Rudy is outside and we're waiting 5 minutes for him to come in, they will have their food in front of him, and no matter how hungry they are, they will not touch it until we have said grace over the meal. We do rosary together. The kids, they love to lead it. We have been going on Monday nights to Mass and Benediction and Holy Hour. And our son serves. He's an altar server.
What I like to be an altar server is that I serve God in the altar. And I love God because he died for us and because he wanted to open heaven up. He loves me, and he loves all of my family. He loves everybody, even though they make bad choices.
I try to get to daily Mass. When the baby came, I haven't been as consistent, but regularly he would wake himself up and he'd be ready to go as soon as I was ready to walk out the door. 7-year-old Bella, she loves to go too, and so she'll be upset if we've already left and she didn't make it with us. She'll be very upset when I get home, that their foundation is with God and of God, and so, you know, it's just cool to see.
It's amazing to see that it's a part of their lives. You know, we talk about it being their foundation, but I see it in these kids, it's their foundation, it's their walls, it's their roof, it's everything to them. You know, whether we're out, you know, at dinners or something, and we always bless the food, you know, praying here at home, and it's amazing for them to now take it and take ownership of it. Obviously, going through their sacraments, the two oldest have done their first communion.
They're so close to God. It's miraculous. And the bigger our family gets, the more joy comes into our life, you know, and the closer we draw to God, because we have to. Because they'll try us, right?
Yes, they will.
You know, but it's so worth it.
Yep. It's really amazing to be involved in something that we know the outcome of, and that's our faith. For me, it makes it so much easier to be involved in this because we know what the outcome's going to be. We just have to be participants in it, to be able to be the benefactors of the glory of God. Going into the game, right, and we know that while we're playing, right, but at the same time, the children just remind us of how wonderful this is. Who else but God could be a creator of something like this, whether it's our scenery, our children, and the lives we get to live, right? So every day is literally a reminder that our faith brings us back to where we should be focused on, which is God. I don't think that there's an easy way or a perfect way or a perfect time to do it, right? It's done when it's supposed to be done, right? So for those folks who are looking at, you know, a family and being open to life and being open to a big family, is again, it's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Your faith is the center, and knowing that your faith is the faith that Jesus himself established, you know, over 2,000 years ago, to know that, hey, the gates of hell will never prevail, that we will always win in the end, knowing that in the end, our ultimate goal is heaven, and knowing that our heaven will always be there for us.
We are Flores forever, and we are joyfully big.
The blessings you receive far outweigh any challenges, right? But also the impact that you can make on others. It's a feeling unlike I've felt doing anything else on this planet.
Ten years of sharing the peace of Christ. Shalom World, God's own channel.